Hello, and welcome back. This is lesson 16.3, representing and describing transformations. A transformation is a function that changes the position, shape, and/or size of a figure. The inputs for the function are points in the plane, and the outputs are other points in the plane. A figure that is used as the input of a translation is the pre-image, and the output is the image. I'll use these vocabulary terms again as we're working through some examples later on. You can use prime notation to name the image of a point. For example, the transformation t moves point A to point A prime. And again, I'll point this out as we work through some examples. Coordinate notation is one way to show a rule for a transformation on a coordinate plane. The notation uses an arrow to show how the transformation changes the coordinates of a general point xy. For example, the notation xy changes into x plus 2, y minus 3 means that the transformation adds 2 to the x coordinate of a point and subtracts 3 from its y coordinate. Thus, the transformation maps the point 6, 5 to the point 8, 2. Now let me demonstrate. If we take the point 6, 5 as our original, that would be considered our pre-image point, and we translated it so that the x coordinate, 6, gets 2 added to it, whoops, and the y coordinate has 3 subtracted from it, and we do that math. 6 plus 2 makes 8, 5 minus 3 makes 2, thus we land at this point, 8, 2. So let's do that again with another point. Using the same translation, we're still going to use this translation right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to translate L, which is a pre-image point of -2, 4, and we're going to change it into a point called L prime. Whoops. We're going to change L into a point called L prime. So using the same transformation, I'm going to take the x coordinate, -2, and I'm going to add 2, and then I'm going to take the y coordinate, 4, and subtract 3. And so if I do the math, L prime should be at 0, 1. We can use these same ideas on a graph to translate an entire figure. So what we're going to do is we're going to translate triangle ABC on the graph to using the rule x minus 2, y minus 4. So the first thing that we need to do is determine the location of the 3 points A and B and C. The location of A, if you look at the graph, is on the point 0, 3. The point B is at the location of 4, 0. And C is at the origin, 0, 0. And what we're going to do is take this pre-image of ABC, and we're going to use the translation from above to change it into its image A prime, B prime, C prime. So for each one of these coordinates, I'm going to use the rule x minus 2, so 0 minus 2, and y minus 4, which in this case is going to be 3 minus 4, to come up with the new ordered pair, A prime, which is at -2, -1. I'm going to do the same thing for B. I'm going to take the x coordinate and subtract 2, and take the y coordinate and subtract 4, which lands me at B prime, the location of 2, -4. And then finally, the C coordinate at the origin, 0 minus 2, 0 minus 4. And so C prime is located at -2, -4. And then I'm going to go back over to the graph, and I'm going to graph my image. A prime happens to be at -2, -1, right there in that location. I'm going to label it as A prime. B is located at 2, -4, 3, 4, right about there. B prime. And C is located at -2, -4, which is right here. C prime. And if we connect those three, we see that we have another triangle that happens to be the exact same size as triangle ABC, but it is shifted to the left 2 and down 4. This is called a translation. Any kind of slide on a graph is considered a translation. There are other types of rigid motion besides the translations. Those are called transformations. They change the position of a figure, but they don't change the size or the shape of the figure. The properties of rigid motion. Rigid motion preserves distance. Rigid motions preserve angle measure. Rigid motions preserve betweenness. Rigid motions preserve collinearity. And rigid motions preserve parallelism. The three types of transformations that are described by rigid motion are translations. Those are the slides that we talked about. Reflections, that's like a flip. You take a pre-image and you flip it, and that's considered a reflection. And then a rotation is any kind of turn. Those are all considered rigid motion.